Good afternoon, my people. This is Ace Corner Talk, coming to you again with a live broadcast. Just wanted to talk to you today about taking your own will, taking control of your own will. Um, it means a lot, and there's a lot of ingredients in what I'm saying. Hopefully, me and you can build so we can be able to get a deeper understanding of what it is I'm talking about when I say to you, it's time to take back your own will. Give me 1 second and I'll be right with you. Make sure I got everything together here. Alrighty, let's get this jumping. Cool. So, taking your own will. When we look deeper beyond the surface and begin to analyze what it is to have a will, we break down and peel back what having your own will means. From a God standpoint, God gives us the freedom to have and do what we will with our own will. So, in aspect, if you are not saved, you have free will, free reign to do whatever you want to do. When a person becomes saved through Jesus Christ or comes under the umbrella of Jesus Christ and gets saved, they relinquish their own will to do the will of the Father. When a person is in between, whether they're serving Christ or not, they are having a war with the will. And this is open for dialogue. So I'm not just going to be on here and have myself talking to myself. We're going to have a dialogue. So this is Ace Corner Talk coming to you. Hey, what's up, Eternal Affairs? What's going on, bruh? So we're going to get deeper into this. We're talking about the will. If you are a believer of Christ, I'm not saying you're perfect, but if you're a believer in Christ, what happens is you have your will in Christ. You have your goals, you have your aspect, you have what you want to do in life, but you do have the will of the Father to serve, to do the best you can in this life, to abide by the Bible. What's good, baby? How you feel? Hey man, if you wanted to come on in, you should have, come on in when you want to. All right, Ace Corner Talk. So look, you have freedom of reign to do whatever you want to do, but the Father's will comes first. And depending on where you are in life, you can be lined up with God's will, and whatever he has for you in your life, you can come into it, or you can do your will and do what you want to do, and everything that was supposed to be gained in your life through Christ will be put on hold. Not saying that things won't come to you, not saying you won't be blessed through other means and all of that good stuff, but I mean to truly be in the will of God and to receive what God has for you, you have to be lined up in his will. There's a lot of people walking around right now that are not receiving the things of God because they're not lined up in his will. I'm not saying that you can't be blessed. I'm not saying that you don't receive things from God. All right, let's get that out there, because some people say, well, I'm in God and I receive things. I'm blessed. Look at my car. Look at my house. I'm not talking about material things. I'm not talking about those type of things. But to truly get the things that God has for you, you have to be in his will. I mean, there's just no way around it. And the reason why I'm discussing the will, because I feel like in today's society and where we are as a people, there's a struggle with the will. And I want to tell you, Satan comes to attack your will. Satan comes to get control of your will. And what happens is when Satan gets control of your will, you're no longer in the driver's seat. So what I want to say is when you are in the driver's seat and you're with Christ, Christ is leading and driving you. Okay, all right. Christ is saying, okay, over here, this is the dangers. Over here, don't go there. Don't deal with that person. Don't. But when Satan is in control in the driver's seat, he'll just have you driving, and just everywhere he tells you to go, that's where you're going. Go left, you're going left. Go right, you're going right. Okay, if there's danger ahead, you're headed right for danger. There's no warning signs. He'll just have you involved in doing any and everything, and having you involved in situations that you shouldn't be involved in. So taking control of your will. We want to talk about this because what happens is when Satan possesses the will of a person, he takes the fight out of the person. That's the whole thing about getting control of your will, is to take the fight out of you. If a person no longer has the will to fight, they give up. What happens when a person is on their deathbed and they have no will to fight? They just give up on life. They're sitting there, laying down in the bed, and depending on where their mind is and their heart is, if they don't have the will to fight, they give up. They die. Have you ever seen or have a family member that, and I hate to bring up topics like that, but if you had a family member that was on their deathbed, but they just did not want to give up, they had that will, so they hung on for a couple of more days. That was the will not giving up. They wanted to fight. So I'm talking to you today, talking to myself today, not giving up the will to fight. My will, your will, our will. We can't relinquish no more giving up our will. We can't give over to our arch enemy our will to fight. We got to stand up and fight. Today's generation have to get the fight back in them. Back in the days when in the 1800s, when we had our pioneers, our warriors that came before us, that laid down the groundwork, they had a will to fight. Everything that came against them, all of the triumphs, all of the struggles that came against them is because they had a will to fight. Harriet Tubman, she believed in the Bible and all that stuff. She had a will to fight. There was something there. There was some ingredients that was placed in there. Today's generation, we're missing the key ingredient. And I believe that it's that will to fight, that will to say, you know what? No matter what is happening in my life, I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to give it up to just any old thing. I'm not giving up to Satan. I'm not giving up to his devices. I'm not giving up to the ranks of Satan. Some people don't like to hear us talk about the arch enemy, Satan. Just like God has his ranks, Satan has his ranks. Just like God has his angels, Satan has his angels. Some people don't even know that he's bound to dimensions. Some of that is not even clear to people, that Satan is bound to dimensions. He cannot operate out of the dimensions that God bound him to. You can find that in Matthew's. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. He cannot operate out of those dimensions. So a lot of people don't know that. So they walk around not knowing why they're being tempted with lust. Some people don't understand why they're fighting and struggling with the pride of life, why they're so proudful. That's a spirit. Just like you have assigned angels from God, you have assigned angels from Satan. And it's in order. It's by ranks. His ranks is well organized and well structured. Just like God has his ranks, Satan has his ranks. And he cannot operate out of that. So what does he do to an individual that has a strong mind? What does he do to an individual that does not want to give up? He attacks his will. He attacks his will to survive. Okay, what I'm going to do to this person, I'm just going to keep on attacking his finances. So he has to go out there and struggle to feed his family. That's a part of attacking your will. Okay, let's set this person up to go to jail so he can give up while he's in jail. There's no hope. He's been falsely accused. Attacking your will. Satan, your arch enemy, my arch enemy, those who believe that he exists, those who believe that he is real. Okay, I'm not here to to argue the antics about whether he is or whether he not. That's not up for discussion, because if you have any type of God in you, you know that Satan is real, because some of the things that are happening in this world can open your eyes to how real he is. How can a mother kill their precious baby? Huh? How can somebody just turn a blind eye and just start taking people's lives? That is satanic to the utmost. I don't care what you say and how you perceive and believe it. To me, and what I have inquired and the things that I've learned, that is satanic for somebody to kill their precious baby that they gave life to. That's satanic. So we're getting into it. We're going to go a little deep. There's a part one, and there could be a part one, part two. Those who want to get into the dialogue, those who want to be able to peel back and get deeper into this, we can do this. Because what happens is when you're blind to your will, when you're blind to how you're struggling with the will, when you're dealing with that on the inside, Satan got you. And until God exposes it and brings it to light, you're going to be struggling with the will. You don't understand that God is pulling you this way and that Satan is pulling you this way. So, okay, you're in the decision making. You feel it on the inside, but you just don't know, and you just can't quite pinpoint what it is. Is God pulling on you? He can't make you and force you to do anything. He's a sovereign God. He just waits until the circumstances get overwhelmed in your life. He just waits until things begin to happen. And then all of a sudden, he just sends signs. There's signs sent to each and every one of our lives every single day. We're just not in tune to realize that God is sending you signs. Okay, the little old lady on the bus stop that might come to you and talk to you about Christ, that's a sign. The billboard that speaks about Christ, that's a sign. Nature, everyday nature, things that happen in the nature, that's a sign. God sends you signs, but whether we are aware or in tune that he's sending them or not, that is on us. But you can't never say that God never sent you signs. You can't never say that he never was there, because we're not aware of the signs that he's sending. So let's get into this discussion. I appreciate those who are tuning in. We have to, and this is a collective thing. I'm not talking as if it's you and not me. I'm included, because I can talk from experience. I can talk from where I used to be. I can't sit here and point fingers as if I never been in those shoes. I was in the will, in the fight of the will. When I was out there in the streets, there was a fight for my soul. There was a fight for my will. Satan knew that I had a calling on my life. Satan knew that God was trying to pull me out from where I was. So he had to constantly attack my will. Everything I was experiencing, I wanted to give up on life. Everything that I was faced with, I understood that, you know what, I can't deal with this. It was always a struggle to give up. Even though I was a proudful man, even though I was a strong man, even though I had, times of weakness, but every time something dramatic in my life came, it was always that wanting to give up on life. That was a certain spirit that was assigned to me, because he understood that if there ever was a time that God was able to reach my mind, reach my heart, that I would be effective in what I would do for him. So he had to immediately attack my will. He had to immediately come with circumstances that was designed to take me out. So that way I wouldn't get a hold to God's will and what he would do for me in my life. And whether you agree with what I'm saying, whether you have been in these circumstances yourself, whether you had some type of pre-knowledge of what I'm talking about, you can very well be in those predicaments now. You can be in the shoes of what should I do? You can be betwixt between should I go and do God's will or should I go and just be who I am? Because that's a struggle. That's a fight that we all have to go through. We're all faced with this fight. We're all faced whether we should continue on following God and Christ, or whether we should try to do our thing and see how far we get. It's a dangerous game. Whether you choose to try to do your own thing outside of God, that's your choice. And it's a very dangerous game because there's no saying that you'll make it while you're in that decision making. You understand? But those who do have a sense of God, a sense of Christ, know who he is, he knows who you are, then you can at least have a chance to make it. Some people say, well, I don't believe in heaven, and I don't believe that there's a hell. Okay, I get it. You have not been introduced properly to Christ. Okay, I get it. You might not have had the right circumstances that's pushing you to believe. Okay, I understand. I'm not here to persuade you to believe in what I believe in. I'm not here to persuade you to see a different way. But what I am saying is, if you are having that feeling about your will and what you want to do versus what you believe God is telling you to do, then you're in that circle, that whirlwind between the wills. So me personally, I can only give you firsthand testimony about myself, because if I come outside of that, then it's just things you can dispute. But I know one thing you cannot dispute is things that I actually been through. Me, myself, and I. You can dispute everything else, but you cannot dispute what I know to be factual and what I've been through. And if there's anybody that can collaborate with what I'm saying, it would be people that know me. It would be wife, kids, family members that can collaborate with what I'm saying to be factual. Okay, so people, I know that there's people out there that talk about space and heaven, and I know there's people that talks about aliens, and they talk about, they get into the spiritual thing, but they don't go as far as or go deep enough for you to get a better understanding. And I understand that there's only but so much people can say without coming under scrutiny, without coming under attack or being under the attack. I know, I understand that, because there is such thing as spiritual warfare. And once you begin to start talking about things that enlightens you and open your eyes, you are engaging in spiritual warfare. And one thing Satan does not like is for people to be, for them to be eye-opening, for their eyes to be open to the truth. That's what happens when you're getting attacked from all sides, is when somewhere you have been enlightened or something has hit that mind to awaken you to God's truth. You start to get hit from every side. Bam, bam, job, family, friends, this, that. It's because somewhere in your life, some truth has been spoken to you, and your eyes and ears have been opened. You might not fully act on it, but all of a sudden it's like, okay, I understand that I heard something, quite not understand what it is, but I do know that there's some truth to it. And I feel it in my heart. That's when you're in that stage where God is now pulling you in. Okay? You might have heard something, might have been on TV, might have read a book, might have been something flashed across the TV screen. With all the distractions in the world, with all of the internet stuff, the TV stuff that distracts us from receiving what God is saying, God can still get his point across to you. He can still get his message to you some way or another. And what happens is Satan tries you. Soon God throws something out there, here comes Satan to snatch it right from you. There's a parable in Matthew where Matthew talk about, I think it's in Matthew 13. Matthew talks about how where the sower sows a seed, and the seeds, they start to spring up. Then in Matthew's talk about how the seeds are snatched up. The seeds wither away. Meaning that, okay, God planted a seed, but you allowed Satan to come in and snatch it from you. How does he snatch it? Soon as God planted, that thought just leaves you. It's right, it's gone. Boom. Out there in space somewhere. It's gone. Soon God plants something there, it goes right out the window. But instead of you grabbing hold to it and saying, you know what? I feel that this is something coming from God. I'm going to hold to that and see where it takes me. People let it go out one ear and out the other. So thus, what we're dealing with is that Satan is constantly snatching things that God is bringing to you to help you in your life. I see that when you begin to indulge and engage into the spiritual things of life, it's not going to draw the attention of a lot of people. It's not going to draw the attention of people that have no interest in changing in their life. Because I'm speaking to a certain demographic of people. I'm speaking to a certain group of people. Not everybody's going to be keen on hearing things about God and spiritual things, because what happens is, yes, it forces you to acknowledge one way or another how you feel about God, how you feel about whether it's real or not. And what happens is, depending on where you are, you have to denounce some way or other or accept one way or other. And some people just do not like to be in that uncomfortable position. So that's why it's hard for Ace Corner Talk to have a certain dialogue, because when I bring these real topics to people in the platform, they're scared to indulge in it. I mean, what's the harm in asking questions about this topic, about spirituality, about your will? What is what is that in you that says, you know what, I don't want to talk about this because it makes me uncomfortable? Well, you shouldn't be, because death, although it's real to everyone, it's an uncomfortable situation because people don't want to realize that one day you will die. Okay, you might believe that you'll come back an animal. You might believe in reincarnation. You might not believe that you're going anywhere once you die. You just remain. Whatever you believe in, that's the ultimate fate, that it will happen eventually to all of us. And that topic in itself, people do not want to indulge in. It's hard for them to be able to talk about that. So I'm here to open up these type of discussions, because from one day to the next, instead of me trying to pour into your spirit something that's not going to help you, I'm just at least giving you options. I'm giving you options for you to choose what you would want to be talking about, what you want to discuss. Because I feel like if I give enough topics and enough things to the platform for people to talk about, one day you will have the courage to converse with me. You have the courage to ask questions, whether you believe it or not. Just ask enough questions that will spark your interest in what I'm talking about. This is not to try to convert you to be a Christian, a believer, and all that good stuff. This is not that, because I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to convert you. I'm not here to persuade you. None of that stuff. I'm here just to open up some dialogue so we can talk about it. Because what if what I'm saying is real? What if what I'm saying is truthful? What if? That's just something that we have to choose to believe whether it is or not. And me, myself, after experiencing certain things, I've came to the conclusion, not because somebody tied my hand, not because somebody pulled me and said, this is what you got to do. I came to my own conclusions about where I'm at and about what I believe that God has brought me into in life. Some of my testimonies can only have came from God, period. Some of my testimonies, and I will share these testimonies at a certain time when we have dialogue, when it permits me to share certain things. Because some of us are suffering from things that happened in the past. Truth be told, Some of us are living now, but suffering from things in the past. Some of us are trying to get over things and people that hurt us in the past. I'm not trying to get off a topic. I'm still with the will, but these are things that allow us to struggle in the now from things that happened in the past. People have not properly got the help they need to deal with what's going on now because of what happened in the past. That's what we're dealing with. That's what ratchetness is. Huh? That's what ratchetness is. It's problems that we have not dealt with from the past that we are now faced with in the present. That's just another way. Ratchetness is just another way of explaining what the behavior is. But all the behavior is unchecked behavior from the past that nobody dealt with, that is now being a cancer in the future and what we're dealing with now. If I didn't get some type of help, whether it was from the church or psychiatrist or whatever, if I didn't get some help, I would be ratchet. I would be crazy. I would be out there in the streets. I would be another statistic. That's probably how my life would have been. And a lot of people today are suffering with the will because they have not had the behaviors in life checked, have not got the proper help. Okay, so I might be speaking to somebody that has been out there, that have been sexually harassed, that have been fornicated when they was little, Uncle Johnny, cousin so-and-so. There's thousands of us that have experienced that and have not got the proper help that they need to get over that. So the behaviors they're having now is because of what they experienced in the past. Some of us are dealing with the issue of, can I trust this person? Can I trust that person? Because of all the letdowns from the past, from all of the people that hurt us, from all of the broken promises that people said that they would do this for us, they would help us. Daddy was going to be there. I'll be there to pick you up for the baseball game. I'll be there to take you to the basketball game, but never showed up. Those are promises that were broken. So now we're in our adulthood dealing with broken promises. So everybody that comes across our path, we don't trust them. Look at the behavior. Look at what we deal with. People, look what we deal with in our society today. Why do you think children act the way they act? It's because the behavior while they're growing up have not been instilled in them and have not got the proper help that they needed. That's the truth. And I'm sorry that I don't have enough people right now to dialogue to really get into this topic in conversation, because this situation hurts. Because once you begin to start talking about these things, there's a lot of pain that comes up. There's a lot of pain that is brought to the surface when you begin to start talking about people's past. And I know people are not that honest and open enough to talk about things from the past. So they just continue to live lies. They continue to live a life, and they continue to put on a facade and a persona that everything is okay, when deep down inside they're dealing with things that have ailed them when they was little and have never got the proper help for the here and the now. And I know I'm telling the truth. And it's not that I'm just telling the truth, it's that I'm trying to get it over to some people that, yes, not only can we just move past and have a better life, have a better process or thought process, but we also can get healing in the process. Some of us need that healing right now. Some of us need that healing. Some of us might be toting on that blunt, drinking that drink, trying to escape from what happened in the past. Some of us didn't have our fathers there to show us how to be that real man, how to do the things that we needed to do to survive as a man. Some of us didn't have that. Some of us struggled because we didn't have the proper guidance with not having our fathers there like we should have, men. I'm talking to you, brothers. I'm talking to those brothers out there, those gangsters, those who are out there on the street right now that one day might see this broadcast. I'm talking to you. Not knowing how to get the love and acceptance from their own father. So now they look into the streets to get it. They look into the gangs to get it, to survive, to be taught how to do the things that a man does, to be able to survive, how to hold the family together. I'm talking to you. And whether you admit it or not, and whether you man enough to get on the chat, or whether you man enough to even chime in, to even just discuss these type of things, it lets me know that I got brothers out there right now that are living the facade. I tried some of the things of the past, the gangs. I tried to be involved in some of that stuff, but I realized that the inner thing that I was dealing with was not fulfilled. And that's just me personally. But I know there's other people out there just like me. I'm not the only one standing on an island alone. There's other people just like me that have experienced the same thing I experienced and have been through. So I'm talking to you, bruh. Talking to y'all. I'm sorry to get off topic because it's emotional to me, because I know the road that I had to go through. I know the pain that I had to suffer. I know what I went through as a young man, not having my father there. I know what I've been through. So I'm talking to you, bruh. I'm talking to some of these brothers out there that like to take people's lives. I'm talking to some of you brothers out there thinking that the only way you can survive is just to sell dope and poison your own people. I'm talking to you. It's time to get serious. Take back your own will. It's time to get real, bruh. Brothers, conscious or not, Christian or not, Muslim or not, I'm talking to you. Because I've been in some of y'all's shoes. I've been where some of y'all been. So I could talk that talk. And ain't none of y'all can sit in my shoes and say, you know what? You ain't been through nothing. Because I can put some things out on the table that can make most grown men fall. Period. So I could talk like this. And if you was man enough to have a discussion with me, we can open up some dialogue so you can hear real man talk. Yes, a real man talk about some experiences that I had to deal with and survive. I got 5 kids. I got 4 boys that look up to me. I'm the first person they look up to. My kids are the first person that they look up to, my boys. I'm their first role model. They don't have to look to the streets for role models. My kids are not in gangs. My kids are not involved in crazy stuff because they look up to me to be the role model. I'm here. I'm daddy. And there's some of us brothers out there that think they're the real, that think they strong, that think they got their life going. No. If you was real enough, you'll be right there trying to raise your family the way it should be. Raise your kids the way you should, instead of letting the streets raise them. It's real talk. I'm sorry to get off topic. I'm sorry to go, but it's all still lined up with the will. It's still right there with the will, because I realize that there's so many feminine people out there, so many feminine brothers, and so many brothers that are scared to tell where they came from. And so many people scared to give a testimony about how they have survived. And they're so scared to give God the credit because they feel like if they begin to start giving the credit to somebody else other than themselves, they have lost the power. No, you ain't losing power by giving God the credit. You're gaining power. Bruh. I know. Go to the next channel. Y'all go to them other channels that's going to feed you some garbage. That's going to feed your spirit some garbage. But I'm talking to some of these men out here. I'm talking to some of these brothers out here that think they're so tough just because they can hold a gun and strap up. Been there, done that, bruh. You come to me when you want this medicine. And I show you how to hold it down. I show you how to hold your marriage down under the pressure. I ain't perfect, but I'll show you how to hold it down, though. You can get it in. 16 bullets, huh? Holding it down for 16. I can show you. Keeping your kids out of harm's way. Having to provide when there's nothing there. I can show you that. brothers. This is Ace Corner Talk. Sometimes you gotta get real. I tried the approach. I tried to come for so many different ways to try to gain the attention of the people that are out there, to gain the attention of the people that are connected to this broadcast. I tried. I tried to give good content so that people can understand where I'm coming from. But sometimes I feel like that's just not enough. I feel like I had to get up close and personal with you. I'm not the type to insult. I'm not the type to be out here slandering. I'm not the type to be cursing at you and all that good stuff. I believe that if we have like minds and you have anything in you that can build with me then. Because we learn from each other. We learn from each other. We learn how to motivate and move forward. Some of you brothers are still dealing with the past, so you're stuck in the past. No motivation to move forward. You're still stuck in the past for things that happened to you in the past. When are you going to let that go? When are you going to possess and take back your own will? When are some of you going to strap up and take possession of your own will and move forward? It makes me sick when I see people give up. It makes me sick when I see people not motivated to move anywhere, to move forward with something. So you seek every day. You seek to get the punishment. You seek to get the ratchetness. You seek that because you're punishing your own self for what you could not deal with in the past. When mama and daddy wasn't looking over you, wasn't watching for you, wasn't watching out for your soul. So you blame yourself for what happened in the past. Well, I come here today to release you. I come here today to speak right to you. What happened in the past wasn't your fault. When you was in innocence, when you was a child, those were things that you could not prevent because you was a child. So I'm releasing you today. I'm speaking right to you. I'm releasing you from all of the hurt, the pain, for people misusing you, mistreating you from when you was in your childhood. I release you so you can move forward to be a better person, to be a better individual over what God gave you, to be a better thinker. I'm releasing you today. This is Ace Corner Talk. I'm just trying to be real with what I believe I have in my hands. I have the opportunity to speak to someone. I have this opportunity to speak to someone. You might not like my delivery. You might not like my background. You might not like nothing about me. All of that's trivial. But when it comes down to the truth, am I really speaking some type of truth to you so you can understand where I'm coming from? Can understand that sometimes God do use people to get his point across, his message across to you? I mean, personally, I believe that if we start to get a platform that can help us move from where we are, I believe that we can be effective in combating these realms and issues in our life. So where all of the men at? Where all of the men that are running from their problems and issues in their life? Where are all of you men, brothers? Where are you? You say you want to change. You say you want to put it down. You say you don't want to pick it back up. You say you want to live a better life. Well, it's time to get real with yourself. It's time to get real with who you are. Look at the man in the mirror. I see some of you walk by me. I see some of you trying to put on that facade like you're so tough, mugging, grinning. I see all of that. Been there, done that. None of you scaring me. Been there. Used to strap up with mine. Used to tote mine. None of that scares me. Because all I see behind that is a spirit that is scared. You're actually scared of life. Scared of what's going to happen the next moment because you have no protection over you. You have no God. You have no inner man helping you to get rid of the fear. The first sign of wisdom is to fear God. The first sign of enlightenment is fearing God. Not that type of fear that you're so scared that you can't. No, the fear that you reverence him to understand that he's real and that he's over your life. And that he's the protector. Some of you are dealing with situations that you don't even have to deal with. God is right here to deal with it, to help you through it. But some of you have been so headstrong and have been so conditioned to deal with life on your own circumstances and own terms, so you don't even realize that God is right here to help you. That's real talk. That's real as it gets. Why you so bedazzled about all of the entertainment and all of the entertainers and all of the rappers and all of that stuff? That's all cute. Yeah, it's all cute. It's all a good showman. It's all good entertainment. Yes, it is. That's cute. But when it's time to get real, when it's time to get up from where you are, you're going to need somebody. I'm not saying it's just me, but you're going to need somebody to help push you in that direction. The only way that you're going to get up from where we are is somebody to motivate you to do it. Without motivation, you ain't going to do it. Without somebody telling you about yourself, you ain't going to do it. Why do you, well, some people, I can hear some people even right now. Who are you? You ain't qualified. I'm not saying I'm qualified, but you can tell a lot about a person through what they say and what they speak. You can tell a lot about how real a person is through what they say and how they live it, period. So I don't need to have anybody come to me and say, who are you to tell me? And who are you to give me this type of advice? You ain't nobody. Where are you? No, but I can give you the key ingredients, and I can push you in a direction that can help you because of the things that I don't do anymore. I had to have something to help me not do those things. Some of you can say it's God. Some of you can say the Holy Spirit. Some of you can whatever. But something had to give me the inner strength to say, I don't want to do these things no more that I used to do. You understand? I'm talking to the people who want to live and not give up. I'm talking to those who have suffered and struggled through marriage. Talking to brothers who have been cheated on and lied on. I'm talking to brothers who have been under people that misused them and took them for granted. I'm talking to people who have been misused for their talents and used up and tossed to the side. I'm talking to you. It's time to get up from that. It's time to get up. Satan has targeted your will and has allowed us to be stagnated and at a point where we don't want to move forward because we're scared of what's happening and what's going to happen. I'm talking to you. It's time to get up. It's time to get up, move forward. Because at the end of the day, when we all look at each other, at the end of the day, when you by yourself, when you're listening to that still voice, when you're listening to your reasoning, you're with your own self. You can tell your own self lies. You can do all of that. One thing you cannot fool is God. No matter how cunning and how slick you are, you can't fool God. That's just the reality of life. You will never be able to fool somebody who created you because he knows you. And me, I'm not pushing the God agenda on anybody. I'm not pushing people to be subscribed to Christ. I'm not doing that, but I am motivating you to think about other options. That's what I'm doing. Brothers, sisters, I'm thinking, I'm giving you another way to think about how can we come together and build so that we can be stronger as a force against what is coming against us as believers, as people that are pioneering in this world. That's what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to people who have a like mind that want to come together so we can pioneer to be better people. So that when we go out there, we can be strong enough to fight against those who are fighting against us with the spirit of Satan. Period. It's hard out here. It's hard. I get it. It's hard for me as an individual. It's hard for me to try to move from one place to the next and not be able to be combated with all of the spiritual things that are out there and all the spiritual attacks that I'm under. It's hard to move like that when you're constantly under an attack. So I had to have some motivation. I even motivate myself. Don't need you to motivate me, because I'm in a place now where if you don't do it, I have to do it myself. Even if I'm talking to one person on this broadcast, even if there's no views on this broadcast, I'm still going to be on here motivating myself, because I know I can go back, watch that, and I can remember that was a time when I was motivated for whatever it was. You understand? It's a time we can laugh, joke. There's times for that. Yes, Ace Corner Talk has a very beautiful sense of humor. I can get real with you. I can talk, laugh with you. But at sometimes, in order to get it over to some people, you have to be real and you have to be upfront with what you're saying, because otherwise they'll just chalk it up as just another person talking to them. And this is not that. I'm in the same shoes as you. The only difference is I feel like Christ is motivating me to go higher. You understand? To go higher in my thought process, to go higher and elevate myself. That's all. That's all. We the same. Yeah, I had BG knock on my door, try to cut my lights off. We the same. I had to come up with some money for some bills last week, this week. We're the same people, and I work hard. But the difference is I'm motivated. I'm not going to lie down in what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. Not going to lie down. I'm not going to soak and waddle and give Satan the opportunity and the chance to attack the will that's in me so I can give up that fight. I'm not going to do it, because I feel like if I start to do that, whoever's watching me, whoever knows me, that's connected to me, I'm giving them a pass to give up, period. That's what I'm doing. And some people have already given people that they know that's attached to them, that look up to them, that believe in them, they already gave them a pass to give up. Some of you gave people a pass to give up. You understand? Some of you gave other people a license to give up on themselves because of how you handled your situation. You didn't even know that there was somebody watching you. You didn't even know that there was a family member watching you, co-worker watching you, little brother or little sister watching how you deal with life situations. And thus you dealt with it the wrong way, gave them the license to give up on life. That's what you did. That's what you did. That's what we did. We gave people a legal license to give up on what may have been their breakthrough or what may have been the potential for them to be somebody because of what God gave you to deal with. And you didn't deal with it the right way. You just gave up. So you gave somebody else the legal right to give up. You gave up on your will. So somebody else that was connected to you, you potentially gave them the power to give up on their own will. You don't believe it's true? You don't believe that you're able to do that? Huh? You don't believe that God places people in your path, in your hands to be able to help? That's what this Christian thing is about. Don't get it twisted. God instills in you so you can help somebody else. That's what it's about. Don't think that it's just about me, myself, and I. Oh boy, I'm trying to get to heaven and I'm by myself. No, God will give you missions and assignments to accomplish while you're here. That's your job. Whether you complete your mission and your assignment while you're on earth, that's up to you and God. Mainly up to you. But what I am saying is, I'm here And I'm giving us a way to be able to discuss the hurt and the pain that we're dealing with. That's why I come on here every day with the feeling that nobody's paying attention. That's why I come on here every day with that thought in my mind that nobody really cares about what I have to say. It's because Satan wants me to believe and think that nobody's out there listening to something that can help them, that can help us. You understand? So thus, I get on here every day to try to encourage myself, even when I feel like nobody cares about what Ace has to say. I mean, truth be told, it takes a lot of guts to try to go live and stream live. It takes a lot of guts to get on this live stream with maybe people watching or maybe people not watching. It takes a lot of guts because I realize that whatever I say could be used against me. There's going to be people that's going to refute. There's going to be people that's going to debunk, whatever you want to call it, what I'm saying. But deep down in their heart, if they have at one point or another have experienced anything dealing with Christ and God, Holy Spirit, and all of those things, they understand where I'm coming from. And I'm only one man with one man's opinion. I'm only one person, but I believe in what I'm saying because of the experiences I've had. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I believe in what I'm saying because I've had those experiences that people have had in the past. I've had them. You name it, been through some of it. And there's a lot of things I really haven't experienced as far as drugs, as far as the deeper drugs, but I have been involved with drugs, you know, and today's drugs are more different from the drugs that I dealt with. You know, a little weed here, a little coke here, a little drink here. Okay, fine. Now you got these Mollies, you got Xannies, you got prescription pills, you got perks, you got things that are blowing people's minds. You got, you know, you got that ice, you got that synthetic weed, you got so much that people are taking to get out of their mind, to get out of themselves. And there's so many things that people are involved in that are taking them out of this world, taking them out of this life. And I'm not saying that I can't relate because of my own situation. I'm just saying I haven't been in that particular person's shoes. But I can speak from a point of selling poison to my people, and I can speak from a point from when I used to use drugs. It was a struggle. I fought with myself every day. If I wasn't trying to fight somebody or cut somebody, shoot at somebody, I was geeking. Seeing things, talking to myself. I mean, all kind of stuff. Yes, that stuff can have you out there tripping. They used to call Love Boat, you know what I mean, woolies, you know, that you get some of that stuff in you, you'll be tweaking too. You'd be like, you'd be like Craig in the pigeon coop, doing all that crazy stuff, looking around. Who talking to me? Whoa, seeing stuff, seeing things in the mirror. Told you I got a sense of humor. Yeah, you'd be out there geeking and doing all that crazy stuff. You know? So I'm just trying to enlighten our lives a little bit. Don't want to be so, I'm not a Debbie Downer. I don't want to down the mood that you might be in. I don't want to blow your high and all that good stuff. I don't want to create a situation for you to be down. I want to uplift you. I want you to be able to be encouraged through your circumstances and what you're dealing with. Okay, that's what Ace Corner Talk want to do. I'm going to help us become better people. Put a smile on your face. Bruhs, sis, whoever you are out there, La La Land. You know, that's what I want to do. I want to be that person to be able to help in some way or other. Talk to that spirit man to help elevate you. You got conscious brothers that I know have been speaking with, connected to, and you know, we talk off the scenes. Some of them have some good tactics and good ways of getting to the people. But I believe right along with what you're doing, you have to get to the spirit of the person. If you ain't touching that spirit, you speaking to the flesh. And the flesh is unpredictable. It'll do what it want to do, when it want to do, how it want to do it. If you ain't talking to that spirit, man, believe me, it's not going to be as effective as you talking to the spirit. Because once you begin to penetrate to the spirit of a person, you get their attention. And that's what I'm trying to do. Not every broadcast is going to be about spiritual things. Not every broadcast is going to be about heaven, hell, and all the spooky things some of y'all scared of. It's not going to be about that. But I feel like when God is pulling on me to say certain things, there's a need, because there might be somebody that needs to hear it at whatever particular time. I might not have the best scenery and all that good stuff to keep you intrigued. You know, all of the factual or material things. Maybe that'll come in time. Maybe if I feel like I'm getting somewhere with what I'm doing, maybe that stuff will come in time. Maybe I might buy this or buy that to be able to upgrade my platform to speak to people. But I believe that now where I'm at, I can deal with what I have and try to do the best that I can with what I have that God gave me. So this is Ace Corner Talk. Your will, my will, your will, our will. My will, dealing with what I got. Your will, dealing with what you got. Our will, dealing with it as a collective. This is Ace with Ace Corner Talk. Peace. I'm out.